we're gonna get into a hot topic, Joel. So obviously we know you're a Jets fan. If I'm correct, we have
Yeah, you're correct.
our other host Surge was supposed to get on, huge Jets fan, big Zach Wilson supporter. Dylan, on the other hand, is a Tua supporter. He's a Dolphins fan. I'm a Giants fan. So we got two Giants fan, a Dolphins fan, a Jets fan. So definitely our group chat gets a little bit heated sometimes, to say the least. But the first thing we're going to get into, so I saw on your guys' recent podcast, on our last one we talked about, we're always talking about these quarterbacks. I would say Tua is probably 70% of what we talk about in our group chat. Arguments happen a ton. But what we're going to talk about in this one is Wilson really versus Tua. And not to put them up too much against each other. We don't want to get into too big of an argument, but I think, again, with Zach Wilson's very impressive performance against Tampa Bay, I think some of you guys talked about is the ability for this, for Zach Wilson. What you wanted this entire season was you're not at BYU anymore. Slow the game down, throw it to your check downs, and really, become a little bit more comfortable. Don't go for the deep pass every time, which what we saw against Tampa Bay, and a big reason why the Jets almost won that game. When you see Wilson versus Tua, try to be as unbiased as you can. What, comparison wise, you think Wilson has a brighter future? What would you see in terms of kind of those two guys?
I don't think it's close. I think Zach Wilson clears him and everything. Maybe the stats aren't there and the production isn't there because he's just a rookie. But Zach is going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And he's going to be one of those franchise-changing guys that every other week you see on ESPN and get posted because he's making some crazy highlight. You saw it a couple times this year versus Tennessee, those two big-time throws versus Jacksonville, that 52-yard run. It's just not close. I think Tua's Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Zach Wilson really has top 5 quarterback upside, and the direction the Jets are going in right now. I joked about it on Twitter, but we should really trade for Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
We trade for Calvin Ridley. We have Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. We build out that offensive line because it's not terrible right now, but if we get a couple more pieces, Zach can have a breakout second season to where this might not even, a year looking back at this, we're like, why was this even a question?
Yeah. Dylan, because Dylan is I'm telling you, Dylan's about to give you some peace of mind. Dylan's a big Tua supporter, and he's able to back it up. I'll give him that. Something I've been a big advocate on is I did not like Tua at all. Coming out of the draft, we started that draft. That's when we started our podcast mid-quarantine. So I wasn't very smart. So I don't know what I said about Tua. I don't think I particularly hated him or liked him. But as last season went on, I was like, I really do not like this guy. And Dylan's a big fan. I'm definitely, a bit of a fan of giving the quarterback 3 years, giving them 2 years, whatever it is, unless there's something egregious, which is obviously why you should move on from them. So when the Watson rumors came out about Tua, I was like, I would move on. I would get Watson. I think Watson changes the Dolphins and makes him a contender. That being said, this year I've definitely become a little bit more of a supporter and started to lighten my views on him because of that 7-game win streak. And no matter how you look at it, because I think the Eagles and Dolphins are in the very kind of same boat where they won a ton of games, but was it really against good competition or good teams, which I think is fair, but taking it in context, but then also it's 7 games in the NFL. So, winning is winning. But Tua, to me, when I look at him versus Zach Wilson, I definitely agree. Right now, I think it's close. I would agree. I would rather have Wilson. And that's simply for the fact that Tua is very different to me. I think Tua can be the future of the Dolphins, the quarterback for the Dolphins. I don't think he'll be elite. I don't think this guy is like Zach Wilson has that potential to really be a top 5, top 10 quarterback. And do I think Tua can't maybe get in that top 10 conversation or be around there? No, I think he can. But I think Wilson, the intangibles he has and kind of that just sheer ability from what I said, if he can be more calm and throw the checkdowns and just be, not going for the big plays, which big plays we know he can do. And we know he has the arm to do that. I would take Wilson. And now Dylan, what do you think? We know what you think, but
I don't
try and take our opinions and really
I completely understand your opinions, and I've definitely softened up on Zach Wilson coming into the last couple of weeks, really after that Philadelphia showing. But in my opinion, what I see from Zach Wilson is similar to what I saw from rookie Baker Mayfield. So he's got that, he hits the deep balls. He's got the same type of swagger that I saw out of Baker Mayfield, but he's really prone to making dumb mistakes. And if he's gaining confidence, which I think he is right now, I can see him keeping up his crazy plays, which what you were saying, Joel, and I completely understand that. We could see him all over ESPN. He's going to be hyped up, but that's only if he's on a good team. And I don't think the Jets are going to be that within the next 2 to 3 years, comparatively to Miami, who I think they're going to be cleaning their offensive line out. Now with a better pass protection unit, Tua will be able to hit those deeper throws, which he hasn't been able to because he hasn't had the time to. That being said, I think Zach Wilson is much more talented as a player. So if both of them can overcome situational organizational dysfunction, I think Zach Wilson has a brighter future. But right now, I think Tua is in a better position to succeed.
Wow, I was actually not expecting you to say that.
No,
that was very
Zach
fair.
Wilson's really impressed me.
That was a very fair argument.
I think the Jets are in a similar position to what the Buffalo Bills were when they drafted Josh Allen.
That's something we touched on. Yeah.
I get annoyed by that because every time someone says and they see a young quarterback, they see them thriving in a big game, and they say, this is the next Josh Allen in 3 years. We saw it with Daniel Jones earlier. We're starting to see it with Jalen Hurts now, and now we're starting to see it with Zach Wilson. Even like Davis Mills we're seeing it with. Not everyone's going to be Josh Allen. We have to realize Josh Allen is an absolutely incredible quarterback. He needed time, but time doesn't automatically mean you're going to be a star quarterback. So Zach Wilson hasn't really shown any Josh Allen-like traits other than maybe in the last 2 weeks. So maybe if we could see some continuance in there, but I wouldn't go as far as to compare him to Josh Allen quite yet.
I'll ask you this: out of all those quarterbacks that you named, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Davis Mills, Zach Wilson, who is the one that has the most physical ability that's comparable to Josh Allen?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think when
I would
you look
argue
at
for
both
Daniel
of them,
Jones there, actually, though.
Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones' deep ball coming out of college was elite. Daniel Jones' deep ball in his first season, elite. He has the mobility that Josh Allen has. Zach Wilson, I think, is in the same category as Daniel Jones in those facilities, and Zach Wilson will be better than Daniel Jones because he doesn't have the chronic turnover issues that Daniel Jones did. But I think as far as the raw physical traits, I think Daniel Jones has him set there.
Yeah, I was more speaking to the fact that the Bills in 2018, they drafted Josh Allen. Their offense was horrible offensive line, no receivers to speak of, no running backs. Then in 2019, you go and get John Brown. You go get Cole Beasley. You go build up that offensive line. The defense was already there because Sean McDermott is an excellent defensive coach. I think Robert Saleh is going to build up this defense to at least a level to where we're formidable, without a doubt. The offense, Mike LaFleur has really picked up his offensive play calling these past couple of weeks. We have pieces with Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. We have an okay offensive line with Mekhi Becton. He's going to come back next year. Elijah Vera Tucker, George Fant, Connor McGovern has been good. If we get one elite receiver, similar to what the Buffalo Bills did in 2019 when they got Stephon Diggs, that took Josh Allen over the top. All we need is one elite receiver, which it could be Calvin Ridley or Jameson Williams or Burks from the draft, and maybe some tight end help because we don't have no tight ends. We can see Zach take a really big jump.
Yeah, and that's where I see it, and definitely, touching to the physical traits, I think Zach Wilson probably compares the most to Josh Allen. I think size-wise, Josh Allen is a very, Herbert and Josh Allen are two quarterbacks where they're special. I mean, the height and not very skinny and deep ball they have and accuracy is special, and I think that's something we talked about with Tua and definitely Zach Wilson. I mean, I think you can argue Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, to me, I would not put him near Josh Allen. I think, arm-wise, it might be good, but this guy's pocket presence and just kind of ability to understand and notice pressure to me is just terrible. I'm a Giants fan. I don't think Daniel Jones is our guy, but that's for a different conversation. I think Zach Wilson, this is definitely something I've talked about when he was coming out of the draft and looking back at it, because a lot of people saw him coming out of the draft and no matter, no way you go around it, he wasn't playing fantastic competition. And that was the main reason why people were like, okay, this guy isn't Justin Fields should be taken over him. And I didn't really think that. I thought Zach Wilson was a good quarterback, deserved to be taken at number 2. But what I've seen a difference from him from BYU is this guy was able to throw deep passes, but I think sometimes his ball was a little bit underthrown, and the receiver kind of made up for it. And what I've seen from his deep passes, at least when they're not picked off, he's definitely touched up that accuracy and that ability to kind of, drop it in. Tua, to me, I would think is a little bit more accurate, but that being said, we don't see him throw many 20-plus yard passes. He's getting the ball at 2 seconds, 1 second, and that is true. The offensive line is egregious. And I think Zach Wilson's is definitely better. And I agree, not having Mekhi Becton, hopefully when you get him back, I think they're probably hoping to maybe get an offensive lineman in a very deep O-line class, maybe in the second round or first round. And I completely agree. Maybe you trade for Calvin Ridley, which I think would be a fantastic idea, because I think I don't know what his value would be. I think a first, but who knows? Maybe you can package 2 seconds and maybe a player. And then Jameson Williams, who I absolutely love. I think this guy is, the ability to take the top off defenses. And like you said with Stephon Diggs, because we on one of our other podcasts, we were comparing Allen and Wilson, actually, they're rookies. And Wilson has been better than Josh Allen rookie year. And I know Josh Allen was very bad and it took him kind of 2 years. So I think maybe you don't get the elite receiver next year, or maybe you do, and then Wilson takes that step the third year. But Wilson, to me, the path he's going on, I definitely could see being similar to Josh Allen. Obviously, it won't be verbatim, but I think it could be, somewhat, close to what it is. But I definitely think Zach Wilson has potential to be a guy, and I think each week he started to owe Miles a little bit more. Dylan, I think the thing that scared me the most was, I'm not sure, I don't know if you know him on TikTok, Joel, but it's this kid. He's a Jets fan, and he was going over the game against, I think it was the Patriots, and there was this one play where 2 offensive line weren't blocking anybody. The tight ends were looking at each other. And then it was the one Corey Davis, I think, bobbled and got picked. So I think Zach Wilson, you got to give him a little bit of a break. He hasn't been in the best situation. But Dylan, do you have anything else to say on Tua? I think you both laid it out very well. I think that was very.
I do have a little bit more to say on Tua, and I like that Joel really brought up the offensive play calling that Matt LaFleur has brought, or Mike LaFleur.
Yeah.
I always mix them up.
No, Mike LaFleur, yeah.
Mike LaFleur has brought to the New York Jets. But what we're not being able to see from the Miami Dolphins is the ability for Tua to drop back in the pocket and pass the ball deep. And I think that's mostly attributed to the terrible play calling we're seeing from George Godsey. This season, he's had Tua Tagovailoa throw the ball over 20 yards, I believe, 7 times over the course of the season, which may be attributed to him not trusting Tua, or may be that he doesn't want him to turn the ball over. He doesn't want to be responsible for a deep ball being played. And it's the same thing we saw with Chan Gailey last season. But when Tua's been making these deep ball throws, he's not getting intercepted. He's throwing completions. So if he were to utilize the deep ball, and he had it in college as well, he was taking the top off defenses in college. That's how we found him out in that national championship game where he took place of Jalen Hurts. And when he's been completing these deep balls in the NFL, people are like, oh, wow, Tua can do it. But he hasn't been throwing these incompletions on deep balls. So what we're really needing to see is, can he do it more consistently? Can the offensive line get better? Can they hire a new offensive coordinator? So for me, I don't like to make a lot of excuses for most quarterbacks. And for Tua, I really happen to be making a lot of them. It might just be because I'm a Dolphins fan. But it just happens to be for me that it's not on him, the struggles that he's faced and the criticism that he's been getting.
Yeah, that is a fair point. I think I would agree. And I think definitely Tua, giving him another year makes the most sense.